With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown.
And I am Yolana Weeks.
Our top stories. St. Kitts and Nevis marks International Day of Women in Diplomacy at Organization of American States.
SCALEC officials urge residents to embrace courtesy extended to neighboring islands under CARILEC's Disaster Assistance Program.
Police investigating the attempted murder of Khalik Hanley.
The St. Kitts Music Festival serves as a platform to promote St. Kitts and Nevis' tourism product.
St. Kitts Music Festival parking, logistics, and debunking misinformation. Guyana VP dismisses opposing parties as inexperienced. Caribbean business is seeing return on digital investments. Internationally, Iran ready for diplomacy once aggression is stopped, says Iran's foreign minister. Now, the details. The Permanent Council of the Organization of American States, OAS, held a regular meeting on Wednesday, June 18, 2025. During this critical session, the International Day of Women in Diplomacy was commemorated, recognizing the profound impact women have had and continue to have in shaping international relations and fostering peace. This significant day was first established by the United Nations General Assembly on June 20, 2022, to celebrate women's contributions and highlight the challenges that still impede their equal participation at all levels of decision-making. Her Excellency Jacinth Henry Martin, the permanent representative of St. Kitts and Nevis to the OAS and current chair of the Committee on Hemispheric Security, delivered a statement on behalf of the Federation in commemoration of the day. Ambassador Henry Martin emphasized the critical role of women in global affairs.
Today, we join the global community in celebrating the International Day of Women in Diplomacy, a day that recognizes the achievements, resilience, and the vital contributions of women who have shaped and continue to shape international relations and peace building across the globe. My delegation extends thanks to the distinguished presenters and speakers who have not only shared their insights, but have, through their words and their works, exemplified excellence in diplomacy. Together, as women diplomats, our service has not only advanced the interests of our respective nations, but has also provided a living demonstration of commitment, merit, resolve, and the transformative power of inclusive representation in global affairs. Today's commemoration holds deep significance, not just in honoring trailblazers in diplomacy, but in illuminating a path for the next generation. To the future female diplomats viewing today and who will view in the future, your aspirations are valid, your voices are needed, and your place in the diplomatic arena has already been prepared by women of strength, wisdom, and vision who walked before you. It is our combined responsibility as male and female diplomats to foster an international community where diplomacy reflects the full richness of human potential, one that champions equity, inclusion, and the indispensable role of women at every table where decisions are made. In so doing today, we would represent both a tribute and a torch, honoring female diplomats who have led and lighting the way for those yet to come.
Historically, the realm of diplomacy has been primarily reserved for men. Despite this, women have been actively involved in diplomacy for centuries, although their contributions have often been overlooked. It is well documented that when women are included in legislative bodies, governance significantly improves, and a broader spectrum of perspectives is considered in decision-making, leading to more inclusive policies that benefit all citizens. Research also indicates that countries with a higher proportion of women in legislative and executive branches tend to have lower defense spending and greater social spending. However, challenges persist. Violence against women in politics remains a significant impediment to achieving gender equality, creating a hostile environment that discourages women from engaging fully in society. Globally, only 20.54% of all ambassadors are women, highlighting the persistent underrepresentation. Between 1992 and 2019, women constituted only 13% of negotiators, 6% of mediators, and 6% of signatories in global peace processes. The commemoration served as a timely reminder of the progress made and the work that remains to ensure women have equal opportunities to lead and contribute to the field of diplomacy. It reaffirms the collective responsibility to champion equity and inclusion, ensuring that the diplomatic arena truly reflects the full potential of humanity.
The St. Kitts Electricity Company, SCELEC, remains committed to the Caribbean Electric Utility Services Corporation, CARELEC, and its mandate to stand at the vanguard for neighboring islands in times of disaster. Under the Disaster Assistance Program, CARELEC secures grant funding to allow for the training of linesmen, known as the Reserve Corps, to assist with post-disaster restoration efforts. During the June 18 edition of Power Talk, Patrice Harris, Disaster Coordinator, and Rondell Phillip, Deputy Disaster Coordinator at SCELEC, discussed the CARELEC's aim to strengthen regional cooperation among member states.
So in any storm, depending on the level of impact, the level of damage, you can solicit support from neighboring utilities. So SCELEC is a part of that. We've not had the opportunity to ask for help, but we've had opportunities in the past to give support to other utilities during their time of need.
Thank you.
So that is to the CARELEC Disaster Assistance Program that set up where linemen are trained regionally and they go out and provide support. So Mr. Phillips' team,
SCELEC has a team that would have gone to training, alliance. SCELEC has a team that's on the reserve team for CARELEC. So those would be the ones that in the event of a disaster outside of St. Kitts, they would get called upon if needed to assist.
In 2024, linemen from the St. Kitts Electricity Company were summoned to Grenada's dependent territory, Carriacou, to help restore electricity in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl. They, along with linemen from other utility companies from across the region, demonstrated their commitment and teamwork, working under difficult conditions to return light and power back to homes, businesses, and essential services. Ms. Harris admonished the citizens and residents to embrace the shared support under CARELEC's Disaster Assistance Program, as one day St. Kitts and Nevis may need the same assistance and display of camaraderie.
So in any storm, depending on the level of impact, the level of damage, you can solicit support from neighboring utilities. So SCELEC is a part of that. We've not had the opportunity to ask for help, but we've had opportunities in the past to give support to other utilities during their time of need.
Thank you.
So that is to the CARELEC Disaster Assistance Program that set up where linemen are trained regionally and they go out and provide support. So Mr. Phillips' team,
SCELEC has a team that would have gone to training, alliance. SCELEC has a team that's on the reserve team for CARELEC. So those would be the ones that in the event of a disaster outside of St. Kitts, they would get called upon if needed to assist.
Being equipped with the tools, training, and experience, the linemen coordinate efforts to identify faults, repair damaged lines, and ensure the safe reconnection of power in disaster-affected islands. Despite the long working hours, maneuvering challenging terrain, with exposure to harsh elements, their sense of duty keeps them going.
The Halfway Tree community was the scene of more gun violence on the night of June 19, 2025. According to reports from authorities, officers of the Violent Crime Unit of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force are investigating another attempted murder that occurred in the Halfway Tree area, leaving one man with gunshot injuries. The police shared that approximately at 8:40 p.m. on Thursday, June 19, 2025, Khalik Hanley, 20 years old, of Halfway Tree, was shot while inside his residence. Hanley was reading when unknown assailants entered his premises and opened fire. He was struck in his left forearm as he fled. Hanley was transported by private vehicle to Pogson Medical Center and later transferred by ambulance to the Joseph and France General Hospital. He is currently warded and in stable condition. The incident follows another shooting in Halfway Tree one night prior, which left 23-year-old Jelani Ford of Harry Phipps Housing Project injured. Preliminary investigations indicated that about 9:10 p.m., Ford was sitting in a friend's yard when he was approached by a lone masked gunman who opened fire. In his attempt to run for his life, he sustained multiple gunshot wounds to both feet and his left hand. He is currently in stable condition at the Joseph and France General Hospital. Anyone with information on these two shootings is asked to call the Violent Crime Unit at 662-3468.
Festivals are known to boost economies globally through tourism and economic diversification. The St. Kitts Music Festival is no different. Being the leading event of its kind in the region, the St. Kitts Music Festival continued to cement its place as a significant revenue driver for the Federation during the tourism off-season and a source of income for many individuals and families. Tivana Wharton, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, St. Kitts and Nevis, welcomes the influx of St. Kitts Music Festival patrons to the Federation. The attendees are not the only ones that benefit from the festival, she explained, acknowledging that local businesses flourish and several employment opportunities are generated. The spin-off effect could hardly go unnoticed.
Tourism is the lifeblood of our economy. We are supported by tourism, and the reality is that the tourist season ends around May, and then nothing else happens. And so the hotels are empty, the restaurants ain't getting no business and all of that. And this is why the music festival was created, to extend the season and the interest in our destination. And so it's doing what it was intended to do. And we are very happy because there's so much benefit, not just to the hotels, the taxis, and the restaurants, those people who are directly involved with tourism. But when you look at the makeup artists, because you know the ladies going out and look good, the clothing stores.
It's a trickle-down effect.
It's a real trickle-down effect. Rental companies, I mean, we want everybody to win. We want everybody to be able to benefit from what we're doing here in tourism.
At the St. Kitts Music Festival, it's more than a celebration. It's fundamentally a melting pot where people from diverse countries gather together with a common appreciation of music. However, the local cuisine, a key part of the St. Kitts and Nevis tourism and culture, forms a major part of the three-night event.
Again, we are promoting local cuisine, and so you're going to have everything from fry fish, grilled barbecue chicken, pork, pigtail, and all the other stuff. A lot of the local well-known bars will be at the music festival. Again, I know you have like Frenny's, Rugadoo, and all those people who you already know who will be there to give that exceptional service that they're used to. I guess they'll have their mugs and all of these things for you to get the party vibes going. This year, I expect the vendors to come out, show up and show out, because you know, we did introduce the ban on single-use plastics and all of that, and so we believe that they're going to be extremely creative this year.
In 2024, the creative economy ensured that patrons receive a welcoming experience at the entrance of the venue with folklore and steel pan music entertainment. Building on the momentum set in 2024, the St. Kitts Music Festival Committee partnered with the Department of Creative Economy again to promote the nation's culture and heritage. P.S. Wharton is hopeful that, having witnessed a diverse cultural experience, people will return to the country, thus contributing to the Federation's economy.
We have endeavored to once again partner with Creative Economy, so all kudos goes to them. They come with the vision. We tell them what we expect, and of course, Robertine and her team, they put things together to create that arrival experience. The objective is for us to really get your excitement, pique your interest from the time you step into the venue site. And so what we try to do is to create a taste of St. Kitts. Whatever it is, we create a taste of St. Kitts so that even if you were to just come in for the festival, you'd want to come back to the island to say, well, I had a piece of sugar cake, or I saw that you guys have Brimstone Hill, or you have ATV tours. Whatever the case, maybe we are showcasing the destination and all it has to offer, because the goal, again, is for people to come back and continue to support our local economy.
The St. Kitts Music Festival is scheduled for June 26 to 28, 2025 at the Warner Park Cricket and Football Stadiums.
With the highly anticipated 2025 St. Kitts Music Festival rapidly approaching, scheduled for June 26 through 28, focus has shifted to the logistical arrangements, particularly parking. Minister of Tourism, the Honourable Marsha Henderson, and Permanent Secretary Tivana Wharton recently provided crucial updates on designated parking areas during an appearance on In Focus, while also addressing and firmly dismissing unfounded rumors concerning the Bastia High School grounds. The festival, known for its diverse musical genres, including gospel, soul, soca, jazz, R&B, blues, and reggae, attract a mix of A-list musicians, visitors, and locals. As such, efficient traffic management and parking are paramount. Permanent Secretary Tivana Wharton outlined the primary public parking locations for the upcoming event.
There's dedicated parking for the St. Kitts Music Festival at Port Zante this year on the east and western side. So we're encouraging persons to utilize the designated areas for parking.
This aligns with the comprehensive traffic management plan developed by the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force Traffic Department, which outlines parking arrangements and shuttle services to ensure safe and orderly movement. Public parking will be available at Port Zante's eastern and western lots, which will be managed by security officers and traffic wardens. Additionally, Beach Island Playfield will be lighted and made available for general public parking. On-street parking is permitted throughout Bastille with specific restrictions in areas marked with yellow lines, corners, and designated restricted zones. Recognizing that the designated parking areas, while not far from the Warner Park Cricket Stadium venue, might still require assistance for patrons, shuttle services will be available.
It's really not far from the venue. However, we do have shuttle service available that will take you from the parking lot to the venue and then back.
A free shuttle service will operate from Port Zante to Warner Park with two main routes, one departing from the taxi stand on the eastern end of Port Zante and traveling via Bay Road, Fort Street and into Victoria Road, and another starting at the western roundabout opposite Rams, traveling along Bay Road, turning onto College Street, continuing right onto Keon Street and entering Victoria Road. All shuttles will return to Port Zante via College Street. Traffic flow adjustments will also be in effect. Victoria Road will accommodate northbound traffic only and will be solely for drop-offs and pickups with no parking permitted. East Park Range will accommodate southbound traffic only up to Park Lane. Lozak Road is strictly reserved for VIP and residents parking with no public access without an appropriate pass. These measures aim to maintain efficient vehicular and pedestrian traffic circulation and minimize disruption to non-event traffic and residents. A significant point of contention addressed by Minister Henderson was the swirling rumors regarding excavation at Bastille High School grounds. Host of the program, Ian Richards, highlighted that Bastille High School was used in the past for parking, but is no longer available. Indeed, in previous years, the grounds of Bastille High School have been reserved for public parking. However, Minister Henderson unequivocally stated,
"The grounds have not been cleared at the Bastille High for the St. Kitts Music Festival. We will be having our patrons pack at UDC, as the PSS said. The clearing of grounds is associated with the construction of Bastille High, so the space isn't available for the music festival and has nothing to do with the St. Kitts Music Festival."
The minister also expressed her investment in the school's construction, noting her hope that her son, currently in the first form, will be able to spend time in the new facility. As the St. Kitts Music Festival prepares to kick off the summer of fun in the Federation, officials are emphasizing a smooth and enjoyable experience for all, with performers ranging from Vibes Cartel, Jennifer Hudson, Arya Starr, Shensia, and Kess the Band. The expectation is for a sold-out festival. Adherence to the traffic management plan and utilization of designated parking areas and shuttle services will be crucial for the event's success. All motorists and festival patrons are urged to cooperate fully with traffic authorities and adhere strictly to all signs, instructions, and security personnel. In regional news, Guyana VP dismisses opposing parties as inexperienced. News Source Guyana reports.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Vice President Bharat Jagdeo, dismissed the emerging parties that are now throwing their hats in the ring for the upcoming elections. At his weekly press conference, Mr. Jagdeo said together all of the opposition parties are no match for the PPP and the President Irfaan Ali and Prime Minister Mark Phillips, especially when it comes to competence and experience. Jagdeo said voters must carefully examine the various political candidates contesting the upcoming elections. He said the APNU's ticket of Aubrey Norton and Jarita Finance has no real governance experience. The PPP General Secretary said his party is not worried about any of the other parties in the race. He said the Guyanese people have seen his party's track record of delivering, and he is confident that it will get another mandate to govern.
So you just contrast that and think about entrusting the future of Guyana at this time in the hands of that group versus Irfaan Ali, Mark Phillips ticket. supported by a party that has kept its promise to the people, always kept its promise to the people.
Mr. Jagdeo said none of the opposing parties had articulated any clear plan for Guyana and are still finding their way around them. He said that PPP will soon outline its vision in its manifesto and will be running on its record in office. Jagdeo also announced that public consultations will be held for additional inputs from Guyanese for the manifesto.
So apart from no skill or competency, they're not trustworthy because they plan not to implement anything, and this feeble attempt to come up with a program that they would call manifesto has been really not just feeble, but dishonest. It's dishonest.
And the General Secretary of the PPP also rejected calls for President Irfan Ali to be part of a presidential debate with other candidates, saying that such a debate would be a waste of time, since, according to him, the PPP is more interested in delivering rather than scoring points.
Caribbean business is seeing a return on digital investments. Television Jamaica has that story.
A new study on Caribbean digital readiness shows that there is a growing sense of urgency by businesses in the region as they strive to keep pace with advances in technology and shifting customer expectations. Details in this report.
76 senior executives from across the Caribbean, including Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Bermuda, Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Turks and Caicos Islands, were surveyed between November 2023 to January 2024 by PwC. It was aimed at examining how far Caribbean businesses have come and how to move further and faster through digital transformation. The survey found that 47% of Caribbean businesses saw a return on digital investments. They report seeing transformative effects in key areas, creating better customer experiences 65%, improving decision-making 54%, and enhancing brand 47%. 45% of the senior execs also see AI as critical to strategy. There is an expectation that this will grow to 52% in 3 years as the transformational impact of AI gathers pace. Respondents were also asked to rate their organization's digital IQ on a scale of 0 to 100, where 0 equals weak and 100 equals strong. The average digital IQ of Caribbean businesses has risen to 67, up from 63 in 2021. At the same time, 37% of businesses see digital disruption as a threat to their survival. More than a third of respondents believe their organization faces a survival-level threat from digital disruption. Only a quarter see their organizations as digital leaders, while less than half think their company's digital transformation is on track and proceeding quickly enough. This compared to 42% who thought their organization's digital transformation was on track and proceeding quickly enough. Another key finding, 33% of respondents thought legacy systems are biggest barrier to progress. These are outdated systems and lack of integration between new and existing technologies and data. The PwC says this highlights the urgent need to clear away the legacy systems and step up the pace of modernization. Now globally, PwC AI Jobs Barometer analyzed close to 1 billion job ads and thousands of company financial reports across 6 continents. Productivity growth has nearly quadrupled in industries most exposed to AI. Example, financial services, software phishing, while AI-exposed industries are now seeing 3 times higher growth.
We now bring you these international reports.
To Geneva to listen to the Iranian Foreign Minister.
Against the regime, and we will continue to do so as long as the atrocities continue, and the regime would stop the aggression and ensuring its non-reoccurrence. Iran's nuclear program is peaceful and has always been under the IAEA's safeguards and monitoring. Hence, armed attacks against safeguarded nuclear facilities by a regime which is not a party to any WMD treaties is a serious crime and violation of international law. In this content, I express grave concern on non-condemnation of these heinous attacks by E3 and EU. Iran is ready to consider diplomacy once again, and once aggression is stopped and the aggressor is held accountable for the crimes committed. In this regard, I made it crystal clear that Iran's defense capabilities are not negotiable. We support continuation of discussion with E3 and EU and express our readiness to meet again in the near future.
So you don't talk to the US? You don't talk to the US?
Thank you.
Right, Iran is ready to consider negotiations once hostilities end. Iran's defense capabilities, however, are non-negotiable, but Iran expressing its readiness to meet again in the near future. The words there of the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. He was speaking after that meeting with his European counterparts, the foreign ministers of the UK, France and Germany, as well as the EU foreign policy chief in Geneva. I believe we have there also Milena Veselinovic. She is in Geneva, where that meeting was taking place. So listening to that, I guess the first obvious question, Milena, it doesn't sound like there was a breakthrough at this point, right? There's no breakthrough on uranium enrichment or some of those sticky issues.
That's right, Sami. It doesn't sound like there was any breakthrough or even any progress. Hearing Abbas Araghchi, the Iranian foreign minister, he is basically reiterating what has consistently been the Iranian position. He is condemning the attacks on their nuclear facilities and attacks on Iran by Israel more generally. He also said that there was a serious violation of international law. He said that Iranian defense capabilities are non-negotiable, perhaps hinting that that request by the Western nations for Iran not just to not enrich uranium on its soil, but also to curb its ballistic missile program. So it really sounds from hearing all of that the two sides have really not met anywhere in the middle or anywhere close to it, coupled with the statements that we've also had. Sorry, it's very busy here, as you can tell. Lots of security personnel still milling through. Coupled with what we've heard already from the European diplomats, who really only just repeated things that we have also heard before about the need to de-escalate, about the need for Iran to continue their talks with the United States, something that Abbas Araghchi said they would not do as long as they are being attacked by Israel. So it does, from these two sets of statements, seem that these two sides are a complete polar opposite, and that not a breakthrough, but not even much progress was made at this meeting. It does leave questions as to where do we go from here. Now, US President Donald Trump has had that self-imposed deadline of 2 weeks that he's said he would give diplomacy, 2 weeks that he could either expand or shrink. And it will be potentially also based on what the European diplomats tell his administration about how today's meetings go. And it's incredible how important the stakes are here. We're talking about whether the US will join Israel in striking Iran, a move that could have wide-reaching and long-standing implications on the entire region. I think the seriousness of that is not lost on anyone here today. I think for that reason, these talks also ran much longer than we thought they would. They ran something close to 4 hours. However, even despite that, the hours of discussions, when the delegations came out, the words that we're saying, the substance of what they are saying really doesn't seem to have moved the dial at all in terms of reaching any kind of a compromise.
Brazilian soy farmers are pushing further into the Amazon rainforest to plant more of their crops, as a landmark deal aimed at slowing deforestation starts to show cracks. The Amazon soy moratorium was signed by the world's top grain traders in 2006, agreeing that they wouldn't buy soy grown on land deforested after 2008. Alceline Cardoso of the Amazon Environmental Research Institute says Brazil has no need to deforest new areas of primary forest or forest in full regeneration, adding that various players have the technical and political will to make these areas produce. The moratorium only protects old-growth rainforest that has never been cleared before, but not other kinds of vegetation and forests that have regrown on previously cleared land. A recent annual report on the moratorium showed soy planted on virgin forest has almost tripled between 2018 and 2023. However, Xiaopeng Song, a professor at the Geographical Sciences Department of the University of Maryland, says he's found more than 4 times that forest loss. Satellite data he analysed exclusively for Reuters shows 16% of Brazilian Amazon land under production for soy is planted where trees have been cleared since 2008, the cutoff date agreed in the moratorium. Farming groups have launched lawsuits and legislative attacks on the moratorium seeking to weaken it. Deforestation, drought and heat driven by climate change bring the rainforest closer to a tipping point beyond which scientists fear it starts an irreversible transformation into a savanna. Paulo da Silva Bezerra, a soy producer, says no money can buy this land.
This is the wealth we have and the environment we live in, and you have to live and survive here.
Most scientists are calling not only for a halt to all deforestation, but also for increased efforts to reforest.
From high tension on oil markets to a $10 billion play by the LA Lakers, this is the week in numbers. Over 20% was the rise in oil prices so far this month by Friday. Amid conflict between Israel and Iran, traders fear Tehran could respond by trying to blockade oil shipments through the Gulf. But prices did ease back later in the week on news the US wouldn't yet get directly involved in fighting. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed the news.
I have a message directly from the president, and I quote, "Based on the fact that there's a substantial chance of negotiations that may or may not take place with Iran in the near future, I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks."
Almost 12% was the surge in shares for Gucci owner Kering after it said it was poaching Renault boss Luca Di Maio to take over. Investors welcomed the appointment, saying he's the right man to revive the debt-laden luxury giant. Di Maio has won acclaim as a turnaround expert after transforming Renault's fortunes during his time at the helm. $21 billion was the total value of orders racked up by Airbus over the first few days of the Paris Air Show. That was in contrast to arch-rival Boeing, which has opted not to announce any deals following last week's fatal crash of a 787 operated by Air India. Top execs at the US aerospace giant have opted to skip the Paris show, the industry's main event of the year, saying they need to focus on the crash investigation. 90 days is the new extension to a US deadline for a decision on whether to shut down TikTok in the country. Donald Trump put back the date for a third time, with the White House saying it was worth it to get a good deal for the Chinese-owned short video app. Trump has previously expressed confidence that Chinese President Xi Jinping would ultimately back a sale. And $10 billion is the price tag put on the LA Lakers basketball team. That's according to ESPN, which says the Buss family will sell a majority stake to TWG Global boss Mark Walter. If confirmed, it will be the biggest ever sale of a professional sports team.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were St. Kitts and Nevis marks International Day of Women in Diplomacy at Organization of American States.
SCELEC officials urge residents to embrace courtesy extended to neighboring islands under CARILEC's Disaster Assistance Program.
Police investigating the attempted murder of Khalik Hanley.
The St. Kitts Music Festival serves as a platform to promote St. Kitts and Nevis' tourism product.
St. Kitts Music Festival parking, logistics, and debunking misinformation. Guyana VP dismisses opposing parties as inexperienced. Caribbean business is seeing a return on digital investments. Internationally, Iran ready for diplomacy once aggression is stopped, says Iran's foreign minister. Thank you for listening.